Damien, a lot of fruit has been falling from your tree lately. What have you been up to? What should we know about?
Well, we're doing this. I've been working on this currency project, which is about it's about 5 years.
So before the huge public interest in cryptocurrencies and NFTs, non-fungible tokens, and so on, you were already looking into.
Yeah, I mean, it was started off as a fungible project, really, and then about 3 years ago, we came into, we saw NFTs and how that was working, so then we stopped it because I was really trying to release it a lot earlier than we are doing now.
Finance, which I include currency, the digital world and how it works, and contemporary art.
Oh yeah, wow.
And you are taking these three things that most of us find quite difficult to get our heads around, or in a sense how to approach rather than understand. The history of your relationship with the art market, and it's a lot of people get very annoyed that one has to talk about a market, but of course it's a market. And of course it's beautiful, it transforms us, it's transcendent, it's all the things that we allow art to be to us, to speak to us in all kinds of ways. But it is also something that can be owned and something that is made. And the word is disrupted. I suppose you've disrupted the market to some extent by stepping out of the world of the gallery, which has, again, held sway, a bit like a bank used to hold sway with money. The galleries held sway with art.
I think disruption's good. I mean, I've always loved disruption from the very beginning. It's like when somebody says, you can't do that, it's always inspired me to find a way to do it. And I've got everything I've ever tried, I've found when people say you can't do that, there is no reason why you can't do that, and I find out you can do that, and it's like that's what I find exciting about the world. I guess with the currencies, I mean the thing that gets me the most excited about it is when I think back, it's like I've never really. I mean, when you say understand it, I've never really understood money. It's like you look at money in its basic form, and it's like all these things, art, money, commerce, they're all ethereal, and it's like there's not really. It's like it relies not on notebooks or on pieces of paper or on things.
Belief.
Yeah, belief and trust.
And the Latin for he believes is credit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, credit.
and it is. And the moment we stop believing, it disappears. And of course, a lot of people are afraid to invest in cryptocurrencies because they think the day after they've invested in it, the whole thing's going to go like a bubble, or the credit will no longer be there, and people will no longer believe. But okay, so we understand why you would be excited by that, someone living in the modern world. So explain the scheme that you've come up with.
Yeah, so I took these things, they're A4, and I just covered them in dots, kind of messy. In the very beginning of my spot painting career, I made some messy spots, and then I perfected them into perfect dots, and then for 25 years I made perfect dots. And at the very end, I went back to the first ones, I made like 2 or 3, and I thought, I'm just going to make these messy ones again, and it's like, I really like them. And I did little tests on paper, and then when I looked at them, I thought, they're kind of unique, but they all look the same. They're actually unique. Yeah. They're handmade, so they're not a print, but they look like a print. And then I thought, what if I made these and then treated it like money or something? And I thought, if I made more than 500, what if I made like 1,000 or 5,000? And then so I made 5,000. But and then we looked at it and we realised that 5,000 wasn't enough. We have to make 10,000 in order to have enough to kind of move around in that way.
So the greater the production run, the smaller the individual cost, is it?
Yeah, but it doesn't really follow. I mean, when we were talking about that ethereal thing, I think there's something that's always totally confused me about people and about art and about money and about everything. And it's like when you look at sort of like magical things, and you look at the crown jewels or something, it's like you go, that's an amazing object. It's the most beautiful thing. Everybody can understand it. People where I grew up would say, I don't know about art, but I know what I like.
Yeah.
And all that kind of thing. And it's like, whereas they'll go, yeah, the crown jewels, that's art. Because they know, and it's like they also can pull it apart and they can go, the diamonds cost this, the gold cost this cost this, and it's a lot of money, and they can see why it sells for a lot of money. And everybody believes that that's what it is. And it's like with the diamond skull that I made, that happens. People like a collector will go, yeah, I'd like to buy that, but they go, hang on, how much is the diamonds worth, and how much is the platinum, and how much did you pay the guy to make it? And they add it up, and if there's 10 million on more on the top, they go, I don't know about that, I'm not sure about that. It's like it becomes like a rip-off or something. Whereas what never ever happens is with paintings. Yeah. And it's like you just think everybody buys into that, everybody in the whole world buys into it, and we do that totally alchemical thing, that totally magical thing where we never look at a painting and go to the Mona Lisa and go, that's 200 quid on canvas and 400 quid of wood. You never do that. It's like, it's 2 tubes of paint. What's he talking about? And so you've got that magic throughout everything already. And so that's what I wanted. I wanted these little things to feel like that, to be like, to tap into that, to be a painting. So everybody
the transformative power that is somehow rendered into an object by the status of it being art and so on would go into these.
Yeah, the belief.
And the people you want to buy them are the kinds of people who wouldn't normally consider.
Yeah, I wanted everybody to be able to
art.
get a painting and not a print as well. And also looking at money, the way that they have to put images on it, and they have to use the best technology of printing, and they have to use there has to be a relief and an image on a coin.
Yes, and a watermark.
But anyway, I realised, sorry, to go back to your question, that we had the NFTs and the art, and then we realised we should bring them both into it. So I've created an NFT version of the work, which is really like a JPEG of each one. So we're going to have a 10,000, because I made it from 5,000 to 10,000 to make it work. There'll be 10,000 NFTs and 10,000 paper works. So actual works and NFTs. But you're not allowed to own both. Nobody can have both. So it's like you've got to choose. I think that's the magic of the project, really. The whole project really is like an experiment, and it's just like an experiment in belief. We're going to do it with Henny, which is the print company that I work with, but also they've linked with Palm. They're on the blockchain and come up with a green alternative.
I was just about to put that, because a lot of people have become aware that one of the things that makes cryptocurrencies and the blockchain work is the consistent mining and the creation of new
huge
chains
cost,
which is a huge cost, and the cost to the obviously the energy and carbon bill of the planet. But there are green answers that are being addressed, aren't there?
Yeah.
And that's what Palm do. And the actual they're on paper. The artworks are on paper.
Yeah, the artworks are on paper, and they're A4, and then they exist, and they'll be in a vault. So we'll keep them in a vault until 2 months after the NFTs.
That's the exciting moment when you have to decide.
Yeah, then you can redeem them with an NFT. So you have to give up your NFT, and we'll replace it for you. I mean, it's funny because normally what used to happen is when I would think about prints or small things, I'd concentrate on the big artworks, and I'd go, that's that, and they're for big collectors with big houses and boats and planes, and you go, whereas these are just prints, and you kind of you go, well, everybody should have a bit of the art as well, so I'll make some prints. And I've always loved prints, but I've not been not been hugely focused on that. And then I remember when I made the fly piece, which is called 1,000 Years, which has got like a cow's head in it, and it's got a fly killer, and the flies fly around and they get killed. I mean, and I had a moment when I made that, because it was all in the studio, and I was working it all out, and I put it together. And I thought, I hope this works. And it's like I had a box, and I had cardboard stuck behind the holes of it, and it was filled with flies, and I had to kind of get in and push the cardboard in, and I had turn the fly killer on, and then shut them thing, and then hope it worked. And I kind of got out, and then turned it on, and the flies started flying around, and they started getting killed, and I was like, oh my God, what have I done? And it's like that kind of moment with this artwork that sent shivers through my spine. And it's like, this project is like that, because it's like I've got the ingredients and you put them all together, but it's just prints, just pieces of paper. And it's like, but once you go,
the energy
what will happen
life
now?
Will suddenly be
it's when I let go, it comes to life.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's,
And it's then out of your control, out of anybody's
control. When you think of it as an artwork, that's what's kind of crazy about it. It's like the whole thing is the artwork, and it's like, it's almost like the behaviour of the human beings that are all involved in it is, it just will have a life of its own. And I can feel the confines of my beliefs. So for me, it's like, I shouldn't, as an artist, have a problem with, it should be an equal problem to burn an NFT or to burn a piece of paper. But I have a much harder problem burning the paper than I do the NFTs, and that exposes something in me, which is kind of bad. And I think, as the creator of this, I kind of look at the scenarios and I go, well, what if, all the NFTs are burnt and then they keep the paper, I'm back where I started in the art world. And then I go, well, no, what if 10% are NFTs and 90% are paper? I go, yeah, that's cool. And then I go, but what if 90% are NFTs and there's only 10% paper? And I go, oh yeah, shit, I've got to burn 90% of the artworks. And I go, okay, I can do that, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
And I think I have to, but then that's my problems. And then I go, well, what if 100% of the art's burnt and it's all NFTs? And I'm like, oh my God.
And you can't control it.
But I have no idea.
Well, I can see you've got them all here. Every box is numbered from 1 to 250, 250, 1 to 500.
10,000. Shall I show you one?
Please do. And just to reiterate, they're all different?
You can open it.
Oh, may I?
You can do number 1. I think number 1 might be that end. Yes, it is.
There it is.
There, can you read the name?
Yeah. Oh, put my glasses on. Totally gonna sell you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very good, number 1. So I guess one of the things that might happen is people will use social media to show, once they've got this, that their actual piece of work, and 1 or 2 might be preferred, mightn't they? People might say, oh, I like the one that's got the lines on, or and so there may be a difference in value for each one.
Yeah, I mean there is that.
And the title, only we have time. There we are, getting the right order again.
Yeah, I mean there's a couple that we've noticed where we've got 2 microdots and things like that. Just little errors, mistakes, spelling mistakes.
So like a stamp, it would be worth more.
I think
to a
so.
collector,
Yeah.
The whole thing is a performance event as well, isn't it? That everybody, in a sense, is participating in a.
I think that's the artwork. The
it is an
artwork's
artwork.
the whole thing. It's like, it's a whole. You can't. It doesn't really exist outside of a project.
Is there a name for it?
Yeah. Currently, it's called the Currency.
The Currency.
Yeah.
The Currency.
Yeah.
Very good.
I just thought that's a really good way. And also as well, I think the whole idea of art being about money is dirty. So that's why I like calling it the Currency.
Facing up to it. Yeah.
But I just think it's, whatever you call it, it's ethereal. You can't put your finger on it. No. Whatever happens.
And it's not like you are changing the art market radically and completely and forever. This will be the only way people will buy pieces now. But you are allowing a feeling amongst people who've never thought to own an artwork by, let's face it,
I love
famous artist, probably the most famous artist around in our culture.
Don't we say one of the most
one
famous?
Of, yes, obviously there's a few others. That's the Damien Hirst, that's the embossment.
Yeah, and then the microdot is there.
And there's the mic. Oh yes, I can feel it, yeah.
And then the title, handwritten, every title's different.
Yeah.
Signature, the embossed, and then there's a watermark in there as well.
Oh yes. And if we hold that up to the light, you can sort of see your shape there.
Yeah, that's me.
And that's you. Amazing. And if you look, they are just completely different.
Yeah, every colour is different, so it's like, because I never do 2 colours the same, so even if there's a green here and a green here, I've always added a bit of white to the green to change it each time. So every time you put a colour on, we add a different colour to it to make them all different.